sunshine. He's the one who puts the moon in the sky. He's the one who hung the stars one by one. He's the one who makes the birds sing. He's the one who makes your dreams so high. He's the one who makes me smile. Day by day, Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Spider-Man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Superman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Batman. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than anyone. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Jesus, you're my superhero. You're my star, my best friend. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better than Yu-Gi-Oh!
Open up your heart before it stops. It's God's house, come on, open up. Hear a knock on the door when you let him in. See, he's done this before, but we don't listen. Let yourself be his home, cause you know he forgives. Pour yourself into him, Satan cannot win. Sometimes you wanna go sin, but you know where he lives. Yeah, you're one of his kids, but you gotta trust him. Welcome to God's house. Jesus in control now, breaking every wall down. We don't have to know how. Welcome to God's house. Praise him till it's too loud. Worship with your arms out. We don't have to know how. Welcome to God's house. Welcome to God's house. Morning comes and you know that you wanna change. Close your eyes, don't pretend, cause you know how to pray. Every knee on the floor, open up and say, Lord, forgive me of my sins and I wanna be saved. Sometimes you wanna go sin, but you know where he lives. Yeah, you're one of his kids, but you gotta trust him. Welcome to God's house. Jesus in control now, breaking every wall down. We don't have to know how. Welcome to God's house. Praise him till it's too loud. Worship with your arms out. We don't have to know how. Welcome to God's house. Welcome to God's house. Jesus is the rock, we're just a grain of sand. God be the ocean, Lord, pull us all in. Run us through the furnace, make a glass house, man. No blinds needed, let them see the light within. God's house, his son is always welcomed in. Every house is different, but every house is his. Cause every house that was built with his hands. So let's look in the mirror and see what we can. God's house, Jesus in control now, breaking every wall down. We don't have to know how. Welcome to God's house. Praise him till it's too loud. Worship with your arms out. We don't have to know how. Welcome to God's house. Welcome to God's house. God's house.
Hey kids, and welcome to our series called Giants. What is the biggest, and I mean the most giant thing you have ever seen? I'm sure those things made you feel pretty small, right? Well, in our story today, we're going to learn about a huge giant, and his name was Goliath. Goliath was over 9 feet tall. Can you even imagine how tall that is? 9 feet? It's like as tall as a basketball goal. Well, he was 9 feet tall and he was huge. He wore armor that was so heavy. Even his spearhead was 15 pounds just by itself. This guy was huge and he was ready to fight. He was ready to defeat the Israelite army. Can you even think about going against a 9 foot tall, huge giant like Goliath? Well, in our story today, we're going to learn all about Goliath and why he wanted to fight the Israelites. But before we start learning more about Goliath, let's sing about how big our God is.
My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. In the beginning, God made everything. God simply spoke and the world came to be. He sent a flood and made everything new. He parted the sea and let his people walk through. He helped a boy bring a giant right down. Joshua marched, the walls fell to the ground. These acts of power are worthy of praise. But if you want to question my God and his ways, I'll look you in the eye and say, my God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. Though we are sinners, he still gave us worth. God sent his son to live here on the earth. He healed the sick, he made blind men see. He let the lame walk and he set the world free. He died on a cross and he rose from the grave. He conquered sin, he is mighty to save. He went to heaven and he's coming back. God's word is true, but if it's attacked, I'll look you in the eye and say, my God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. God the Spirit, God the Father, God the Son. 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. God the Spirit, God the Father, God the Son. 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. I'm not afraid because God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do.
Are you ready for the Bible story? Yeah! Okay, so today's Bible story is one of the most famous Bible stories ever told. We're going to go back to part only part of the story. We're going to be telling pieces of this throughout the next week of the series. But our story is all about David and Goliath. And it's found in 1 Samuel 17. The Israelites are God's chosen people. And God has promised to take care of the nation of Israel if they worshiped him and him only. There was another nation of people, and they were called the Philistines. Say, ooh, the Philistines.
Ooh, Philistines?
Yes. And they were the enemies of the Israelites. The Philistines and the Israelites faced each other on opposite hills. They were getting ready for battle. And there was this big valley in between them. Then Goliath, the Philistine champion giant from the city of Gath, came out, and he was over 9 feet tall. This giant was super scary to look at. Not only that, but he didn't have good things planned for the Israelite army either. I know. Goliath stood and shouted across to the Israelites, "We will settle this dispute in a fight. Send me the man who will fight me." The Israelites were so afraid. They looked at each other, and none of them wanted to fight this giant. Do you want to fight this giant? No. They were all too scared. They knew that they didn't have anyone as tall or as strong or as brutal as Goliath. But he wasn't done picking on the Israelites. He screamed again. He said, "If your man is able to kill me, then we will be your slaves. And if I kill your man, then you have to be our slaves." For days and days, Goliath came out and taunted them, yelling at them, and even cursed God. But the Israelites didn't do anything. Do you think that was the way to handle this giant? No, it's not. Do you think that Goliath was going to go away without a fight? No. Giants don't leave if you ignore them. They have to be defeated. And we have to defeat those giants by putting our faith in God. Did you like that story? Yeah. Let's sing about putting our faith in God.
Got a mountain, it's in your way. You wanna move it wants to stay. You need the power that comes from faith. We're talking sickness, poverty. Any problem has got to flee with the power that comes from work for you. The blood of Jesus guarantees it's true. We're talking power that comes from F-A-I-T-H. Yeah, give me an F. A-I-T-H. Come on, give me an F. You need the power that comes from
My life be like, ooh, yeah, ooh. My life be like, ooh, yeah, ooh.
Alright kids, today we are starting a new series all about giants. And it's all focused on the story of David and Goliath. Now, we've already talked about Goliath and learned some things about him. Can you imagine going against someone that tall? He was 9 feet tall. And even scary. Like, he was so mean and scary. I just can't imagine having to face somebody like that. But this is a lot like the giants that we face in our life, you know? The Israelite army, they were so scared because this just wasn't any old enemy. This was a giant enemy, and he was determined to destroy everything they knew. And this is what giants do in our life. They set out to destroy us. So what is a giant? What could possibly be a giant in our life? Well, a giant is any problem that is bigger than you. For some of you, a giant is a sinful habit, kind of like lying or fighting or talking bad about other people. And for others of you, a giant could simply be a situation you're in or a difficult thing to get out of that seems to be holding you down, kind of like sadness or loneliness, or having a difficult time at home with your parents or with your siblings. Those can be giants in your life. Everyone's going to face a giant at some point or another, and it's different for every person, and it happens at different times in your life. A giant is a problem that we face that seems way too big for us to defeat because it is so much bigger than we are. In fact, giants seem bigger when we are not following Jesus. As long as you are living for God, you're going to have God on your side to face that giant. And God is bigger than any huge giant problem you could ever face. You have nothing to fear with God on your side. But if you're not following God the way you know you should, then those giant problems are going to seem huge. They're going to seem like you cannot do anything to defeat them. They're going to seem way bigger than you. And it's going to be so much more scarier without God on your side. Sadly, some people don't understand that their giants are going to be bigger without God. And when they choose not to follow God, they just think, if I ignore that giant, it's going to go away. And that's what the Israelites thought too. They thought if they just ignored Goliath, he would go away. But that's not what giants will do. Giants don't leave on their own. They must be defeated. The Israelites had been watching Goliath come out over and over and over, and they probably figured that if they would just ignore him, then he would go away. But that's not what happened. Goliath came out every single day for several weeks, and he screamed at them, and he taunted them, and he yelled at them, and he threatened them and said he was going to kill them and make them slaves. He did that for a long time. So the ignoring him was not working out. It's the same way with our giant problems. They don't just disappear or go away if we ignore them. You don't have the power to take on giants by yourself. And ignoring them is not going to defeat them. We have to face that giant. We have to defeat that giant. And like we've already said, with God on our side, we can do that. We can face those giant problems. If you're following God and you have him on your side, with God's help, you can take on any giant in your life and defeat it. But don't take my word for it. Take God's word. And he says in Romans 8:31, and this is our power verse today, says, if God is for us, who can ever be against us? I would like you guys to say that with me. Can you do that? Just everybody, not just boys or girls, but all of you together. I want you to say this verse with me. It's Romans 8:31. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. If God is for us, who can ever be against us? Kids, that's what you need to remember in your life. If you have God on your side, then there is no giant that is too big for you to defeat, because your God, our God, is so much bigger than any giant ever. So what I want to do right now is I want to pray with you guys again. I want to pray that God will help you through the giants in your life. So let's bow our heads. Dear Jesus, I thank you so much for the opportunity we have to be able to talk about you and talk about the things that you do and to follow you. And I pray right now over every kid, over every child and their parents and their families, that you will help them to remember that you are bigger than any giant they could ever face. No matter where they are, no matter what the problem is, you can help them defeat that giant. If they're following you and they're obeying your word, you are always going to be on their side. So I pray right now that you will give them strength, that you will help them to have faith in you and to know that they are never alone. They are always going to have you on their side. And together we can take down any giant in our life. Amen.
God isn't the best place to find a savior, so the church is where I go.
Me and my friends at the table of the Lord, bow our heads and the candles glow.
You come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I gave it a chance. Now I turn my hands up, I hear your word on the soapbox, and then I take a chance.
Oh Lord, you know I want your love. Your love, it came to save somebody like me. Come on now, follow your lead. I may be blind, come let me see. Say Lord, let's not wait too much. Fall on my knees and pour that mercy on me. Come on now, follow your lead. Come on now, follow your lead. Yeah, love, having faith in you. I push and pull with my sin, it's true. And now my heart's converting too. In your blood and your body. Last night I was in the pew, and I surrendered to the truth. Suddenly discovering something brand new. In your blood and your body. Wow, wow, wow. In your blood and your body. Wow, 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 wow.
In your blood.
Somebody discovering something brand new.